My heart pounded as I stood in my father's oak-paneled study, the salty breeze from Charleston Harbor drifting through the open window. "You can't mean this, Dad," I said, my voice shaking as I faced him across his polished desk. My father, James Whitaker, leaned back in his cushioned chair, his silver hair catching the lamplight, and exhaled a plume of pipe smoke. "This isn't up for debate, Abigail," he said, setting his pipe down with finality. My hands balled into fists, but I held my ground. "So, that's it?" I snapped. "You'd rather hand the firm to Lucas, who doesn't even show up half the time, than give me a shot just because I'm your daughter?" He didn't blink. "The Whitaker Maritime Law Firm is for your brother to lead, Abigail," he said, his tone unyielding. "You've excelled in your studies, and you'll make a fine wife someday, but this isn't your role. My name is Abigail Whitaker. I'm 25, a Yale-educated maritime lawyer, and the daughter of James Whitaker, owner of one of Charleston, South Carolina's most prestigious law firms. My life has been a relentless pursuit of excellence. Top of my class, captain of the debate team, first in my law school cohort, all to earn a place at my father's side. But in that study, surrounded by nautical charts and the faint scent of tobacco, my dreams cracked. My achievements, my passion for maritime law, meant nothing to him. I was just his daughter, destined to marry well and fade into the background. I locked eyes with him, steadying my voice. "Lucas doesn't care about the firm, Dad. He's careless, barely passed his bar exam, and spends more time at yacht parties than in the office. You know this." My father sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. "Lucas will grow into it," he said. "He's my son, Abigail. It's his right to take over Whitaker Maritime. And you?" His voice softened, almost patronizing. "You have other paths, a life free from the firm's pressures. I'm shielding you." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Shielding me?" I said, shaking my head. "You're not shielding me, Dad. You're holding me back. I've earned this. I've worked harder than Lucas, harder than anyone. And you know it. But you won't give me a chance because you're too stuck in tradition to see what I can do." His face tightened, a warning in his eyes. "That's enough, Abigail," he said sharply. "This conversation is over." I stormed out, my boots echoing on the hardwood floors of our family's historic Charleston home. My mother, Eleanor, was in the sitting room, arranging seashells on a display table. She glanced up as I passed, her eyes soft but weary. "Abigail, what's wrong?" she asked gently. I paused, frustration boiling over. "Dad won't let me join the firm," I said, my voice cracking. "He's giving it all to Lucas and expects me to just accept it." She sighed, her fingers brushing a conch shell. "Your father has his ways," she said hesitantly. "Perhaps it's best not to challenge him, dear. He means well." I stared at her, stunned. "Means well?" I repeated. "Mom, he's dismissing everything I've worked for because I'm a woman. How can you defend that?" She looked down, her silence heavy with years of acquiescence. "I just don't want you to get hurt," she said softly. "Sometimes it's easier to let things be." Her words settled like a stone in my chest. I was alone in this fight. That night, lying in my childhood bed, the weight of my father's dismissal crushed me. I thought of the sleepless nights studying admiralty law, the mock trials I'd dominated, the sacrifices I'd made to carry the Whitaker name. For what? To be told my place was in a marriage, not a courtroom? The next morning, I was packing a duffel bag when my bedroom door creaked open. My mother stood there, her face pale. "Abigail, what are you doing?" she asked, her voice trembling. Before I could answer, my father appeared, his expression stormy. "What's this nonsense?" he demanded, stepping inside. Lucas lounged in the doorway, still in pajama pants, smirking. "Off on a little getaway, Abby?" he teased. I zipped the bag shut and stood tall, facing them. "I'm leaving," I said firmly. "Since I'm not wanted at the firm and clearly don't fit into this family's plans, I'm going where I belong." My mother gasped, clutching her necklace. "Abigail, don't do this," she pleaded. My father's eyes narrowed and he stepped closer. "Don't be absurd," he said coldly. "This is your home. Where would you go? For what? To prove some point?" I met his gaze, unflinching. "Yes, Dad. To prove I'm worth more than being sidelined for someone who hasn't earned it. You made it clear I have no place in your firm, so I'll find one that values me." Lucas chuckled, crossing his arms. "You're blowing this way out of proportion, Abby. Throwing a fit because Dad's not handing you the firm on a platter?" His smugness ignited my anger. "This isn't a fit, Lucas," I snapped. "It's me taking charge of my life, something you've never had to do because everything's been given to you." My father raised a hand, silencing us. "Enough," he said sternly. "Abigail, you're not leaving. You belong here." I shook my head, grabbing my bag. "No, Dad, I belong where I'm valued, and that's not here." I brushed past them, my bag slung over my shoulder, descending the creaking staircase. My mother followed, her voice breaking. "Abigail, please stay. We can work this out." I stopped at the door, turning to her, the woman who'd spent her life smoothing over my father's decisions. "Mom, I love you," I said gently, "but I can't keep hoping things will change if I stay. They won't." My father stood at the top of the stairs, silent, his face a mask. Lucas leaned against the railing, unbothered, as if my leaving was a minor inconvenience. I opened the door and looked back. "When you're ready to see me as more than a daughter to marry off, you know where I'll be," I said, my voice steady. Then I stepped into the humid Charleston morning, the door closing behind me. For the first time, I felt free. I didn't look back. Within days, I landed an interview at a top maritime law firm in Savannah, Georgia. They didn't care about my last name. They wanted my Yale degree and my fire. Walking into their office, I wasn't James Whitaker's daughter. I was Abigail Whitaker, maritime lawyer ready to make my mark. By week's end, they offered me a position, and I felt I belonged, valued for my skills, not my lineage. The work was intense but exhilarating. My new boss, Clara Nguyen, a brilliant attorney with a no-nonsense edge, mentored me closely. She saw my potential and gave me big cases early. Within months, I was handling complex shipping disputes, earning respect from colleagues who judged me on my work, not my gender. It wasn't the future I'd planned, but it was mine, and that was enough. Professionally, I soared, but nights were tough. Cutting ties with my family left a void. In my quiet Savannah apartment, I missed my mother's gentle voice, even if she never fought for me. I even missed Lucas's infuriating antics. Most painful was knowing my father let me go without a fight, but I pushed forward, pouring myself into my cases. My reputation grew. Clara assigned me high-stakes disputes, and I became known as a tenacious litigator. I wasn't just a lawyer. I was a force. Personally, I grew too, making choices for myself, free from my family's expectations. I was Abigail Whitaker, carving my own path. One morning, Clara called me into her office, a modern space with views of the Savannah River. She studied me, her dark eyes sharp. "Abigail, I've got a case for you," she said. "It's big, messy, and it'll put you center stage." I leaned forward. "What's the case?" She paused, then said, "We're representing a client suing Whitaker Maritime for malpractice in a salvage contract. It's high profile and it's getting attention." My breath caught. "You want me to sue my father's firm?" I asked, my voice steady despite the knot in my stomach. Clara nodded. "I know it's personal, but that's why you're perfect for it. You know how Whitaker Maritime works, and you're our best. You can win this." I exhaled slowly. "Clara, this isn't just a case. It's my family." She leaned forward. "I get it, Abigail. But this is your shot to show the people who doubted you what you're made of. This could define your career." I sat back, the weight of her words sinking in. "I need to think about it," I said quietly. "It's not just professional, it's everything." "Take your time," Clara said, "but not too long. We need to move fast. Let me know by tomorrow." That night, I couldn't sleep, staring at my ceiling as the stakes churned in my mind. Taking the case meant facing my father, who'd dismissed my dreams, and Lucas, who'd coasted on privilege. It meant challenging the Whitaker legacy that had both lifted and confined me. But it also meant proving I was more than they thought, even if it burned my last ties to them. For 2 days, I wrestled with the decision, thinking of my father's cold rejection, my mother's silence, Lucas's smirk. But I also saw a chance to show the world what I could do. By the second day, I decided. I walked into Clara's office, head high. "I'll take the case," I said. She grinned. "I knew you would. Let's do this." The first day in court was electric. I strode in, briefcase in hand, my client beside me. As I neared the plaintiff's table, I saw them, my father and Lucas, at the defense table. Their eyes locked on me, shock rippling across their faces. My father's jaw clenched. Lucas's smirk faltered, unease flickering. I set my briefcase down, meeting their gazes without wavering. I was here to win, and nothing, not their surprise, not their judgment, would stop me. As the session began, I was in my element. Every argument, every motion was precise. I spoke with confidence, ignoring Lucas's smirks and my father's stare. In that courtroom, I wasn't their kin. I was Abigail Whitaker, attorney, and I was unstoppable. Lucas struggled, his arguments sloppy, his inexperience glaring. I countered each misstep with sharp evidence and case law, dismantling his case. My father tried to bolster him, but even he couldn't undo the damage. The courtroom saw it. I was winning. By the third session, their side offered a settlement. My father's face was grim as their counsel approached us. After negotiations, we settled, heavily in my client's favor. As we signed, I caught my father's glance, defeated, perhaps regretful. Lucas avoided my eyes, staring at his papers. I said nothing. I'd proven my point. Usually, I'd linger post-session, shaking hands with opposing counsel. But my father and Lucas left swiftly. No words, no acknowledgement. The silence stung. Despite my victory, I'd hoped for some sign they saw my worth, but their exit left a hollow ache. I refocused on my client, reminding myself I'd won. That evening, my firm celebrated. Clara raised a glass. "Flawless, Abigail," she said. "You owned that courtroom." My client thanked me profusely, and surrounded by colleagues who valued me, I felt proud. This was my triumph. Later, in my apartment, Savannah's lights glowing outside, I sipped wine, replaying the day. My father's tense face, Lucas's avoidance. I'd wanted their respect, but their silence hurt. Had they seen my strength, or just their loss? The questions lingered as I gazed at the city, wondering if my family ties could ever heal. The next morning, Clara approached me at the office. "Abigail, your father's here," she said cautiously. "He's in your office." My heart skipped. "My father?" I asked, masking my nerves. She nodded. "He wants to talk. Take your time." I walked to my office, finding James Whitaker seated across my desk, hands clasped. He looked up, his face softer, almost vulnerable. "Abigail," he said quietly. I closed the door. "Dad, why are you here?" He stood, smoothing his jacket. "I came to talk," he said, serious, "to say what I should have said before." I set my bag down, arms crossed. "I'm listening." He looked out at the river, then back at me. "You were extraordinary in court," he said. "I've seen many lawyers, but you were exceptional, prepared, fierce, unmatched." His words surprised me, but I stayed composed. "Go on. I've clung to old ideas," he said, regret in his voice. "That a son should inherit what a father builds. I thought I was right, pushing Lucas, even knowing he wasn't ready. But I was wrong. You've earned your place, Abigail. I failed you." I blinked, processing. This was the man who dismissed me, and now he was apologizing. "Why now?" I asked cautiously. "After everything?" "Because I saw you," he said simply. "I realized I've been blind. Lucas isn't ready, maybe never will be. But you're a leader. Abigail, come back to Whitaker Maritime. The firm needs you. I need you." His offer hit hard. I'd dreamed of this, but now it felt complex. "What about Lucas?" I asked. His face tightened. "He'll stay, in a lesser role. This is about you, your rightful place." I exhaled. "I need time to think," I said firmly. "This isn't simple. A lot's happened." He nodded. "Take your time. I'm not asking for an answer now." He moved to leave, then paused. "Abigail," he said softly, "I've rarely said this, but I'm proud of you. In that courtroom, you were better than I ever was." His words struck deep, and I stared, speechless. He gave a small smile and left, leaving me with my thoughts. At my desk, his praise echoed. Better than I ever was. I'd fought to prove myself, and now I had. But this wasn't just about him. I was proud of me for standing firm, thriving, showing the world what I could do. Now, late at night, I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, torn. My father's offer is my dream, running Whitaker Maritime, shaping its legacy. But returning means navigating old wounds, working with Lucas, Rebuilding trust. Staying here, I've grown in ways I never imagined. But it's not my family's legacy, the firm I loved as a girl. The choice feels impossible, keeping me up. What would you do? Share your thoughts below. I'd love your perspective. If you enjoyed this story, please like and follow for more. Your support means the world, and I can't wait to share the next one with you. Thank you.